It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. I was sitting in the sun having a coffee. I looked down and saw his beady little eyes looking at me, his snouted little nose and his worried little tail. Cut. Start again. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. One more time. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden. 3. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden. Step and back 4. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down not getting eaten by the birds. I was sitting in the sun. One more time. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. It was late summer when I noticed the bread my wife put down in the garden. It was late summer. There's the change of it. Late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. That's pretty rememberable. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. We all have decisions in the life. My way, smash the skull, compassion, my way. Whatever you do in life, you have decisions. But just remember my story, because you might be whining and dining, or sleeping, or close quarters, hopefully not married to. I hope this doesn't go over your head with a dirty rat. And beginning, that my wife put down, the bread that my wife put down in the garden, not getting eaten by the birds. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden, not getting eaten by the birds. Now under stress and fight or flight, if everyone looking. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden, not eaten by the birds. I was sitting in the sun having a coffee. Okay, and eating it. We all have decisions. Just remember my story, because hopefully you're not whining and dining, or sleeping, eating, or married to. Whining or dining, or sleeping or living, married to. Hopefully you're not whining and dining, or sleeping and living, and married to, dirty rat. So Indian. Hopefully you're not whining and dining, and hopefully it doesn't go over your head, sleeping and living, married to, dirty rat. Oh, that's Toastmasters. Hopefully you're not whining and dining, and hopefully this doesn't go over your head, living and sleeping, married to, dirty rat. Living, sleeping, or married to. Sleeping, living, married to, dirty rat. Whining and dining, and hopefully this doesn't go over your head, living, married to, hopefully this doesn't go over your head, living, sleeping, married to, dirty rat. Oh, it's just nice. Whining or dining, and hopefully this doesn't go over your head, sleeping, living, or married to, dirty rat. Ow. Whining or dining, and hopefully this doesn't go over your head, sleeping, living, married to, dirty rat. I'm not a crook. President Nixon. Whining and dining, and hopefully it doesn't go over your head, sleeping, living, and married to, dirty rat. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden, not getting eaten by the birds. It was late summer when I noticed the bread that my wife put down in the garden, not getting eaten by the birds. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. It It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. I was sitting in the sun having a coffee. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. Sitting in the sun, whining and dining, hopefully this doesn't go over your head, sleeping, living, or married to a dirty rat. Whining and dining, and hopefully this doesn't go over your heads, sleeping, living, or married to a dirty rat. But there, spread the energy. Boom. Married to, dirty rat, sleeping, living, and married to. Hopefully, after you make decisions, you're not whining and dining, and hopefully this doesn't go over your head. Sleeping, living, married to a dirty rat. It's like summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. Fucking hell, what a mouthful of it. It's alright. A couple of words. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down. It's alright that my wife put down. My girlfriend put it down. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. I was sitting in the sun. That's too easy. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down. Yeah, I gotta forget that. Okay, and it was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. I was sitting in the sun having a coffee. I looked down and saw him. His beady little eyes looking at me, his snouty little nose, his worried little tail. Dirty intruder, that's right, dirty, stinking, fucking rat. Fucking mongrel. Okay, you too. It's like someone when I noticed the bread in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. My wife had put it down. But I was sitting in the sun. Evidently. It's like someone when I noticed the bread in the garden not getting eaten by the birds. I was sitting in the sun. My wife had just fed them, and I saw it. It was like someone when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. That's the goal. That's the one that's got to go hit for that. There we go. No Hail Marys, otherwise it's only one shot. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. The garden that my wife put. It was late summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. Your decisions, hopefully you're not whining and dining. Hopefully this doesn't go over your head. Not sleeping, living, married to a dirty rat. It's like summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. Sleeping, living, married to. Okay. It's like summer when I noticed the bread in the garden that my wife put down, not getting eaten by the birds. I was sitting in the sun having a coffee. I looked down, I saw him, his beady little eyes looking at me, and his snouty little nose, his worried little tail flickering in the wind. A dirty intruder, that's right, a dirty, stinking rat. He looked at me, I thought to say, "Fuck you, man, I'm the new kid on the town, I'm taking over this block and there ain't nothing you can do about it, absolutely nothing." Oh yeah, okay. I laughed. And I went off to work. Didn't think much of it. And days had passed. And it wasn't until I got home from my niece's 25th birthday party, I was at the front door, and I saw him again. He was out near the barbecue area, making a bit of a racket. Oh, right, just laughing. I saw his face again. I took off my shoe and threw it at him. I let off a huge roar. The neighbours must have been thinking I was cooking a patty or a steak on the barbecue, but nah, it was this dirty, stinking rat. The magnitude of the problem. I didn't sleep that much at night. Because at 4 in the morning, I woke to this sound up in the ceiling, the scratching and gnawing of the wood. The little blighter was up on the beams or the wires and the pipes, and a catastrophic event was probably about to happen. And he had just come in for a night of warmth and sleep. It was unconscionable to him that he thought it was some problem, but yes, it was a problem to me. And I don't know if it was 1 rat, 2 rat, or an infestation of rats. As far as I'm concerned, it was 1 rat too many, and I needed that rat gone. They needed it out. So in the morning I started Googling ways to get rid of rat problems. There's this one technique: you get this poison, you get the bait, and you put it there for the rat to come along, and you nibble at it for a while, and after he's had a bit, he would need some water, and he goes, finds some water, and but that would take way too long, I thought. My brother had this idea. This is the contraption, and you load it up with some bait, and the rat would come along and put his head in there. There was a piston, and the rat comes along, the piston smashes his skull, instant death, seek and destroy, no mercy, blackout, gone burgers, no more rat. But I wanted a more humane version of getting rid of this rat. I don't want to kill this sentient being. I wanted to keep my good karma intact. I wanted compassion in my life, so I thought of a different way, a different approach. So I found myself reaching out to a local religious community. And they had a question time. And at question time, they said, anyone questions? Oh, yep, put my hand, yep. Yep, they said. And I said, okay, I've got this problem. I've got this rat in my house. I need to get rid of this rat. It's causing havoc. How do I do it? I don't want to kill him. I want to compassionately get rid of this person, this thing, this rat. Yeah, he said, well, you get a sort of a catch and release cage. You catch the rat, and then once you've got him in there and you're satisfied he won't get out, you take him out of your house, you take him somewhere 20 kilometres away, preferably near a river. Okay, I thought, good advice, yeah. And I was contemplating, and then wait a minute. What if that rat has babies? What if it's a mother or a father rat? And I was like, and then blah, 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 blah. 4 hours later, the wise elder said, look, where do you draw the line, right? You're the sentient being, eh? Look after yourself, the rat is second tier. Now, take the rat out and you'll have no more problems. The gods will look down upon you and you'll have good karma, okay? Okay, all right. Good advice, I thought. So on my way home, I found myself stopping off at Mitre 10. So Mitre 10, went in there and found this cage, and this was a beautiful cage. This cage was like a shoebox type cage with wire mesh around it, had a platform, they put the bait in there, the rat would come on there, stand on there after you touch the bait, and the door would shut, and you caught the rat, got him out of your house, take him out, and take him away 20 kilometres away. You see, rats are neurosensitive, yeah? So rats won't get anywhere near anything if you put your scent on it. So if you touch anything, they'll come along and they know you've touched it, you've been there, and they just ignore it, it won't go there, so you're wasting your time. So found myself getting a tissue and picking it up on the handle and taking it to the teller and putting on the booth to try and get it swiped. And she, no, your voice just about touched the whole cage and put it on a handle. So no, finally. Paid for it, got it out of the store and got it home. Now Google had said, get the cage and load it up with the bait, put the food in there, but don't let the rat come along and don't release the cage so it captures it. Don't set the cage. Just let the bait be eaten. In and out it comes 3 or 4 nights having food, like a 3-course meal on egg, great. So let it have like cheese, bread, sardines, bacon. I thought bacon would be nice, but not bacon. So in and out it goes, and I haven't said, what a waste of time! Oh my God, what is Google trying to tell me? Because if I get the bait and put it on there and the rat comes in and eats the bait and the trap is set and stands on the platform, as soon as that happens, the door's going to shut, got the door shut, got the bait, got the rat into the cage, take him out of the house 20 kilometres away. Problem solved. Why am I wasting time feeding it? But anyway, as we speak tonight, fellow Toastmasters, ladies and gentlemen, the rat trap is set, the bacon is fresh, and the night is about to end, yeah? But we all have decisions in life. Do we decide to smash a skull, instant death, get rid of the problem, get rid of that thing out of your life? Or are you more a compassionate way of catch and release and let the gods pray down upon you, have your karma intact, and not harm that sentient being? Because remember, think of my story, because we all have decisions, and you might be whining and dining, but hopefully not, and this doesn't go over your head, sleeping, living, and married to a dirty rat.